With everything going on in the world, people need to be uplifted. They need something that promotes character, creativity, confidence, and joy. The GRN show is not just an average talk show. The topics are powerful and will make you think. Join me on this journey to be informed, to relate, to connect, and to evolve.
Good evening and welcome to the GRN show, a time to be informed, to relate, connect, and evolve. According to the UNICEF study recently put out, the August 14th 7.2 magnitude earthquake in Haiti affected more than 1.2 million people. And then days later, they had tropical storm Grace hit the same region. And yesterday I was looking at a Wall Street Journal, and as of yesterday, more than 2,000 people lost their lives. There were 10,000 injured, and about 65,000 homes destroyed. You who travel to Haiti, imagine so many homes lost. What happened to these people after this disaster? Not only the earthquake, but also a storm. I saw a video yesterday, basically someone under a top while the rain is falling. And I have to tell you, it really was heartbroken. Humanitarian help is needed. And getting there is not easy because this is the first time we're experiencing something like that. In the past, during 2020, we did not have COVID. In the past, there was a little more security in the country. So there are many, many challenges. But I have to say, the people who are determined to help, they are doing a wonderful job. And I think one of the things that's very different this year, we're using different strategies to really get help quickly and ensure that the victims are able to get assistance. So this evening, I have a group of individuals whom I refer to as the Magnificent Seven. Only just a couple are missing, but I call them that because in just days they've been able to pull together, and really they are critical in the relief effort to really get our brothers and sisters help. So it is with great, great pleasure I bring you Commissioner Dale Holness from Broward County. Good evening, Commissioner.
Good evening, and thank you so much, Gitel, for your leadership role in our community.
Thank you. And also we have Dr. Alex Desume, Councilman for the City of North Miami, as well as the chairperson for NEON. And I'm going to let you explain what NEON is, Councilman.
Thank you so much, Gitel, and it's a pleasure for me to be here with such a magnificent, like you say, panelists. I want to say good evening again. NEON is the National Haitian American Elected Official Network, which is the only, we like to say the largest, but we are the only network of Haitian American elected officials in the nation of over 80 elected officials, because we often like to leave out our judges, although they're not partisan, and we keep on saying 67, and until we get in Texas, say, wait, you don't count us?
Okay,
And then that's the current, and then when you count the formers of almost 200 people in the nation. So.
Super, super. And our next guest, I'm sure many of you know her. She really is the powerhouse for the Little Haiti Cultural Center. She handles many of our cultural activities, and she's also very engaged in the community, and she does quite a few things. So Sandy Dawsonville. She's a key member of HAPC, and I'm going to let you explain what HAPC is, as well as you are a former president of, well, you were very involved with IEC for Biden. We worked together on that. So, Sandy, welcome and good evening.
Good evening, Gittel. Thank you so much for having me with this wonderful group today. So HAPC is the Haitian American Professionals Coalition. It's a coalition of over 20 professional organizations, including Haitian Nurses Association, Haitian Doctors Association, Haitian pharmacists, social workers, teachers, engineers, so on and so forth. So it's really a group of professionals, Haitian Americans living here in the United States and throughout the diaspora, who are putting their voices together to hope to sort of shape policy and happening in the United States and in the Haitian American community. And the Little Haiti Cultural Center is a cultural arts facility owned by the city of Miami here in Florida. So between those two organizations, I pretty much have my hands full.
Super, super. And we have with us Cozy Clerget Joseph. She is one of the recipient organizations that will be working on the ground to make sure our people are helped. So, Cozy, please tell us a little bit about yourself, not so much the organization. We'll get a chance to talk about that. I wanted to say thank you, and then basically just tell us briefly, a little bit about what you do.
Hi, I'm Cozy Joseph. By day, I am actually a leader at Amazon. I do information technology work for them. I manage a team of consultants, and we do great work for Amazon. But by night, I am the chairperson of the Gospel of Clergy Foundation, along with my husband and my children and many of my friends and volunteers.
Family affair, that's the way it goes. Super.
That's the only way I get to keep them around.
That's wonderful. And we have with us, actually, I know I was not aware of the organization, but this morning Commissioner Dale Holness had a press conference, and I got an opportunity to meet our next guest. His name is Vilgunis Louisin. And basically, he's going to play a big role in our getting materials to the people in Lekai. So, Vilgunis, we say welcome. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yes, I believe you are. Vilgunis, yes.
Oh, Vilgunis. Okay. Thank you so much for being with us.
All right. Thank you, guys. And it's a pleasure for me to join you tonight on this call. And as you know that we, as a shipping line companies, that we intend to do this tremendous help for Haiti because they need it so much. And as we speak right now, I'm still on the berth at Port of Eclipse right now. We just finished our Part 1 operation tonight. And most likely tomorrow morning, we're going to continue receiving goods. I'm literally standing on a berth right now, right next to the vessel, before I head home, and I realized that I need to jump on this call before I start driving on the
wow.
And right now, we just finished our Part 1 right now on the vessel, and then tomorrow we're going to continue on this to finish the journey, to finish loading all the goods.
All right. Well, thank you so much for making the time to be with us. So I'm going to start with my first question with Commissioner Dale Holness, because as I mentioned, the earthquake happened early morning, and within hours, it was able to get us organized with Haiti with Love. And tell us a little bit about that name, Commissioner.
So in 2010, after the earthquake in Haiti, I pulled together a group because I created a sister city relationship with Haiti through Pétionville and Lauderdale. And the group, I called it To Haiti with Love, Haiti Chérie.
Haiti Chérie.
Yeah. But of course, in English, we would say To Haiti with Love. And we were able to organize a major effort back then working with Food for the Poor as or beneficiary to the events that we did. We had a major concert with Tabu Combo, Zenglen, Tropicana, back then Sweet Mickey, before he became president. We raised quite a bit of funds. We had it at Central Broad Retail Park, and we were able to send money down through Food for the Poor. The donation went to them for them to get supplies. Organized with a friend who went back to Haiti for a while, Stanley Fabre, and a whole bunch of others. Shipments of a lot of goods, several plane loads that were able to get into Haiti quickly after the disaster. So when this earthquake struck and I found out about it in Saturday morning, I called a few of my friends and we went to work, again, utilizing the idea that we should show some love to Haiti with love, because certainly the people of Haiti deserve our love, especially America. But the fact that Haiti helped us to win the War of Independence by sending forces here to fight, and we know about the Battle of Savannah, where they were some of the fiercest fighters to save American forces so that we could actually have an independent nation. The fact that about a third of this country, the Louisiana lands, which comprises all or part of 15 states, was granted to us for 35 cents per acre as a result of the sacrifices that the Haitian people made in order to liberate themselves from France. So we went to work, and Gittel, we put together a call to many of the leaders in the community and started to rally to figure out how we get funds. Part of what we were discussing at the time on Saturday evening was, let's not repeat what occurred in 2010 with all the monies pledged and raised that never reached to Haiti, because it went to pay consultants and folks from here who went down and had a good time at the expense of the Haitian people. So we identified several organizations through that. Gospel Clergy Foundation was one of those organizations. And in fact, I met Cozy Joseph in Okai back in 2012 when I went down to join with the twinning of the city of Boynton Beach and Okai. I represented the city then. They didn't have an elected official, so I pitched in and did that to help with that while I was there in Haiti. We also looked at Mandodo Foundation and working closely with Marlene Bastien. We also added in Family Action Network. The two previous organizations are actually underground in the South, in Grand Anse, in Okai. Because of the reputation of Marlene Bastien's organization, FAM, we believe that the credibility could help us get some support, and I know that you direct the money in the right place. So we started to work on that. We designed a piece to go out. We've so far sent to more than 100,000 emails out. We've done some texting. We've made phone calls to get support for this. And then, of course, Mr. Lasson from Accordia has a ship that was ready to go to Haiti, and by tomorrow, I believe it's going to go down. And we found that opportunity, and we really rallied to get as much support as we could for that. And many of our pastors we reached out to, and others in the community. And I was there today at that press conference. You were there, Gittel. There was a lot of goods that were being brought in as a result of the outreach that all of us put together did. So our leadership team, and in Broward County, Representative Marie Woodson, Commissioner Gellin, Commissioner Nancy Metayer, Commissioner Alexandra Davis, and Commissioner Bourgelin, though he's not here, was putting the word out for us to rally together. That's basically the core of the elected officials here who are Haitians. Though I wasn't born in Haiti, I still consider myself a full Haitian.
What is the name they call you again?
Jamaicien.
Jamaicien.
Yes.
So being to Haiti,
about 7 times, I know the Grand Dance and the South because I was there, and someone talked about the roadway. It was a nice drive through the mountainside to get down there. And it's sad that we see this now broken. What we must do from here is continue to work to raise the funds. I was able to give some donation already from my own pocket and help others to bring donations in cash and in kind. The generator I got from Home Depot today. We got it down there. My Commissioner Gellin is going to get another generator for us because we know how sporadic power is to begin with and how it's not as widely available. Having power, electric power, to power whatever machinery is needed to help those who are recovering from this devastation is essential. So I think power and also medical supplies and tents are really critical.
Excuse me, Commissioner Holness, I really want to take the time to go through the list. So we're going to do that a little bit
Okay, good,
later.
very good, excellent.
So I know with Neon, today also they had a press conference, and Councilman Desume is the chairperson of that organization. If you could give us a synopsis of what happened today and how what are the strategies you will be using to assist Lakai.
Thank you so much. Again, it's a pleasure for me to be here on this panel. When this first happened, of course, to our beloved country, I think we all said to ourselves on Saturday morning, either in disbelief, maybe it's fake news from 2010 pictures that was being sent, or here we go again, because I thought it was 2010 picture. But we said something, and I think the commissioner had mentioned it previously when talked about what is that can we do differently, or what is that we need to do differently. We had been in touch with the White House, with USAID on a monthly basis, and some issues that we're dealing with on the national level, with DHS and all that. It's almost on a biweekly basis. So when this happened, we knew that we had to do something because in 2010, Neon had just formed a year prior, and we did not have all of the Haitian American elected officials that we have today. We had a handful of elected officials in about 5 states. Today we have over 16 states, over 80 current Haitian American elected officials in the nation. So we, in talking to folks Saturday right after this occurred, we met as a group together and we decided to the efforts that we were going to do after talking to the Haitian government as well as with the U.S. government, because we are Americans, Haitian Americans who love Haiti, but we are here as American officials in terms of what is it that what we could do differently as officials. And we had a call that same day, that same evening with the Haitian ambassador, with other folks within the Biden administration. And then we made a couple of determinations, but there was 3 main goals, actually 2 main goals that we decided to do as an organization. And we are again in 16 states with various leaders. We decided to play the role in terms of being an auditor and monitor all of the organizations that are making promises, and not necessarily at first being organization. I think the conversation started with the Haitian government that was talking to us because a lot of promises was made to Haiti, and it really did not reach Haiti. And it had a lot to do with, we was not equipped in terms of, having the elected officials or the thing to do the right advocacy that needed to do what needed to be done. So today it's a little bit different, and we see our role a little bit different than all of the wonderful organizations. And I know Sandy going to talk about HOPSI, which Neon is a member of, a lot of these other organizations. So we wanted to be extremely careful not to play a role in terms of endorsing or supporting any organization over. However, politicians, and we have to be careful because we are non-for-profit, but we know that being a non-for-profit, we are dealing with elected officials, and they have to go back in their own districts, in their own cities, in their own states, So we said they could do, they could do as they please as long as we stick together in terms of the goal that NEON needs to do. We did not need no one to come in. Us as Haitian Americans, this is a solution that's coming in as leaders of the community. And we certainly appreciate friends, as Commissioner Holdis mentioned, and members of Congress, and at that time, President Obama and all those who've been friends to Haiti. And this time we said we would step up in terms of providing the accountability, in terms of leveling, making sure that the right support gets to Haiti. So the first one is making sure promise made, and again, not organizations, the big boys, the UN and the United States, and all the others, promise made to Haiti kept. And the other part, which ties to number one, is the accountability. Because I tell folks all the time.
So important.
Yes, and I'm saying what I say because this will be my, I have to leave and go to the other thing, is we will do what we do in terms of once the money get to Haiti, is how does it monitor? And the third part, which is a small part of NEON, which is we decided, a lot of members, some did not want to collect money. It was a little, divided group in terms of that because they said we elected officials, we're non-for-profit, we don't want to get into it. But we received a lot of calls, and we are various members as a national organization. We're not local. And folks were telling us that if we don't step in and at least be something that's fair and impartial, receive whatever we receive, because the taking the money is not our concern. But is this once the money get to where it needs to get? We don't have any footprint in Haiti. We all know Haiti. We all know Okai. We all know the South. The entire region, and we do not have any organization. And we tell our members, please be careful. Do not support any organization over another. Everybody does good work because there's organization that Timona, and I'm gonna say that in Creole, that's doing good work. Sandy may know them, and I may not know them. And Sandy needs to call me and call the other body and say, you know what, Alex, this organization is doing that. So whatever we collect, and we're not saying that's a big aspect of our goal, because our goal is really to monitor all organizations. And as a result of that, we said we cannot select one or two. Even if for us to select 10 organizations, we still would be in trouble because it's a national organization. Yes.
So let me ask you a question. If you have this coalition of elected officials nationwide, now will someone who knows Lekai be able to help ask, do a quick assessment to see if that organization will be able to deliver services?
Yes, great question. Absolutely. The accountability piece, in the next couple of days and next week, we're really going to lay it out. And we have a lot of national organizations which really going to be, and we're going to look at leaders in the community that's actually doing the work. We have one of our member, Clive Vernell, well-respected attorney, assemblyman from New York, who's chairing the compliance committee. And we are having a lot of major organization, which next week we will be putting out organization that's really going to put that list in terms of the portal that we talked about. We are looking at having folks on the ground, and this thing also going to require the Haitian government because they asked us to help them do this, and we said you will be included in making sure that whatever goes there. So in terms of us, whatever that we collect, because we don't do nothing in Haiti, we're giving it out to whatever organization that we give it out to. Everybody's going to be tracked in terms of the progress that they made, whatever that they received. And the pledge that we did make is that we are not keeping not a dime. We are being transparent. We are putting on our website, and we just have to put something up there starting today, but it will be a much developed thing that looks more robust, where people will be able to see the numbers of donors, what we received, and because the receiving part is not our problem. And once we give it out to whatever organization that we give it out to, people are going to know, it's going to be transparent. And then we're going to welcome every organization, including big and small, to also report to this portal, transparency portal. We're going to create. So that's our job.
Awesome. So that's really the financial end of it. Now, one of the things that really impressed me this morning is Mr. Louisin has an operation at Fort Everglades, and between, and he was saying he has about so many different containers ready to take merchandise, materials. So, Mr. Louisin, I was not aware of Accordia Shipping. So, tell us a little bit about your organization and obviously as an alliance to Commissioner Dale Holness. You guys are working together to get these materials out. Please share with us what Accordia Shipping does, how frequently it goes to Haiti, and so.
To get started, Accordia Shipping, it's not an organization or non-profit or any type. Accordia Shipping is a well profitable shipping company located at Port Everglades. However, all the principles of Accordia Shipping are raised and born in Haiti. We are all Asians. So when in 2010, at that moment, I remember that when the earthquake happened, I was working for Palm Beach County at that time. And the next thing coming to my mind is book an airplane and go to Haiti to help. Unfortunately, at that time, no flight coming in. I had to fly to DR, take a bus, go to Haiti and get help. Wow. So helping, it's part of me. It's part of my partners. And then when this happened this time, we're sitting down, we say like, how can we help? Because we realize that we have the means of transport. The biggest thing from the bridge from the US to Haiti, you need that bridge to bring anything over there. We have the possibility, we have the means. We said to ourselves, why we don't give, because we have a shipment for our personal goals like clients already set up to sell on this day today. So we just convert that selling day, start shifting it from a business perspective to a donation perspective. That's all. And we tell people that, hey, the ship is already cleared by US Customs to load your Port Everglades. Bring the stuff, we're not charging a dime, and we're going to ship them to Haiti for free. That's it. We're not an organization for non-profit and things like that. So now, this is what we tell the people. We talk to the commissioner, we talk to everybody, bring the goods, we can ship them to Haiti, and we turn them to a well-known organization in Haiti who can do the part to distribute the goods. And right now we get it done. We're just gonna get it there. And right now the only local government we're talking to is Commission Protection Civil, which is kind of the FEMA version of the US. So we are talking to them to return all those goods to them to make the proper distribution, because they are the biggest entities right now in Haiti and governmental that can properly redirect that goods to the place it needs to be. So that's why we're talking to them, so we don't get caught in the middle with those goods that we are bringing to Haiti. Pretty much, this is it, and our job is halfway done right now, as you can see. I don't know if there's a lot of lighting, a lot of things, because right now, like I told you, I'm literally standing on the berth of the vessel. If I can flip my camera, if I was good enough in this, I would give you an idea, probably not, an idea. If you can look behind me, that's the vessel. And way behind me, you can see all the goods in there. We start putting some water, stuff we already been receiving on this vessel right now. So by tomorrow morning, the worker is going to come back, finish unloading, and by 12 o'clock, we sell. So this is our Accordia Shipping part. We've done our part, and to help our dear lovely country, Haiti chérie, like the commissioner was saying.
Love it. I am loving it. And so, this is, I think it's really important to know that there are, CEOs like yourself, young entrepreneurs who do understand the importance of philanthropic work. It's not all about money. In a cause like this, I really admire the fact that you were able to come in and say, you know, we're going to help our people. So I want to say thank you on behalf of our people. And I want to see more organizations, more for profit organizations and companies do what you're doing. So we're at the point now where the materials get into Lectai, and one of the recipient organizations, as I mentioned, is God's Clergy Foundation, and we have Cozy. So Cozy, when it gets to Okai, tell us what are the logistics and what do you envision to get the help directly to the people?
So the medical supplies, and we're only doing medical supplies, okay? They're going to be turned over to Department de la Protection Civile, and we will actually go to Niagara, okay, to get them. But it's between the time that the vessel arrives and the time that Department de la Protection Civile takes possession of them. I was on a call with them this afternoon. It's about 2 weeks. So, so what we talked to them about is that they are going to turn it over to reputable organizations such as GCF. And then when we get there, when it gets to us, we will be putting them in a staging site, very similar to what we did in 2016, where we have a staging site. We've mobilized local volunteers. Okay, we had a team that we worked with in 2016. And this year, along the way, we picked up another group of youth, very dynamic, young leaders, young up-and-coming leaders who are willing to work with us. So we are going to mobilize them, and they're going to unpack and start the organization of the medical supplies. And in Haiti, we will be purchasing food and water. Okay. So the idea, the vision that we have for this mission, which is slightly different to what we've done in the past, is that we are going to have a unit, it's going to be a caravan, right? Mm-hmm. And in that caravan, we're going to have medical people, okay, and food distribution people. So we're going to identify the towns that are the most impacted, that have not been seen by any NGO or any nonprofit organization. So we're going to identify the towns that have not been touched at all. We're going to go there, identify, the injured who need to be cared for, identify the elders who need to get their blood pressure and, diabetes to be checked, get that under control, check their medication, make sure they're okay, make sure that the injured are, we do their wound care. And then we're going to leave them with water and food. You see?
Got you.
So, in the past, what we do, what I see, and this is a vision, right? And, because we've done this, we've done each part separate, but we've never put it together like this. So what we envision is that we're going to town, we're going to have a mobile clinic we're going to have nurses and doctors who are going to be there, and we're going to have people who come in for care. And then we're going to the community to see what homes are impacted. Okay, if we have tents, for example, who needs a tent? We give it out. And then
So let me just clear it. So I know being on at Port Everglades today, I recognize people were bringing construction materials, lots of food, and maybe you, Commissioner Dale Holness, if they're collecting the medical supplies, who else will be collecting some of the other materials, such as I mentioned, construction materials and tents? Tents are definitely much needed.
Right. So I think I can take that for you, Commissioner Holness. Well, first of all, our drive is only for medical supply, and I believe that Mr. Lucin is raising the other materials. And I believe that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Lucin, you're going to give those materials to Department de la Protection Civile. Okay, those are going to stay with them. We're not going to take them.
Gotcha.
Because at this point, we're not at a phase where we're helping people rebuild. We're at
Got you.
We're at some kind of a recovery phase, right? Where we're trying to make sure that people don't starve, right? And we're trying to make sure that people's wounds are not infected, okay? And we're trying to address the small towns, the small rural towns that we can
Right.
get to, that the big NGOs don't really go to. And we're going to do door to door neighborhood type impact. And that's where you get the most because these people in general, they feel neglected. They feel like the world forgot about them.
Course.
And when you walk in, it's almost as though you're a savior. You know what I mean? Everybody is like so happy to see you and so cooperative and just kind of I'm so grateful. Okay. So that's where we're going to take this mission. That's where, let me put it this way. That's where I am being guided to take the mission.
Got you.
And from our strategic planning, throughout the week, that's what we decided we're going to do.
So now we have, obviously Neon, you have To Haiti with Love, and then of course you have Sandy that really represents HAPSI, which is a coalition of all of the different organizations. I'm going to take a little pause. Now we have Cindy Dawsonville, who works with a host of different organizations. And again, I can see where To Haiti with Love, Neon, and then of course all of the other professions, HAPSI, the organizations that are part of HAPSI working together. So tell us a little bit about where do you see HAPSI going with the efforts and how can we all collaborate?
I think at this point, so I currently am the former I'm the former chairwoman of HAPSI. The current chairman is Gerda Necklace, who's actually in the South, in Haiti right now. The goal really is to find a way, like so many other organizations, to filter all of our efforts and give the same message. It's really important to HAPSI that whatever aid or assistance that we give Haiti, that it does not negatively impact the country's economy and the ecosystem that's already there working to in the situation and on the ground. So right now, all the funds we collect, all the materials that we collect are to be given to organizations that are in Haiti that are already doing the work. Because I think one of the biggest mistakes that as people living in the diaspora we made during past natural disasters was that we sort of parachuted into Haiti and gave our expertise without really speaking to the people on the ground and making sure that we were distributing the resources equally and where they were needed the most. And we didn't give a lot of organizations on the ground an opportunity to use our resources to make themselves stronger so that they could be sustainable. So that's really important to HAPSI at this time. And I think that's where most of our focus has been. Besides the 20 plus organizations in HAPSI, we've been working with other organizations to put our resources together to funnel them to one or two different organizations that are already on the ground to help them do the work, and most importantly, help them sustain themselves so that they can do the work for a long period of time and sustain those rural communities for longer periods of time without just their ecosystem that already exists.
I see. So if I'm understanding correctly, are we saying that HAPSI also will go the route of raising funds, Or do you see yourself, do you envision yourself collect? And obviously, you guys, with the Nurses Association, Doctors Association, I imagine there will be a lot of medical supply. So, will you be collecting other items as well?
For now, we are mainly collecting funds and medical supplies. We are closely with the Haitian Nurses Association, as well as a few medical groups in Haiti to provide supplies that cannot be found in Haiti. That was another thing that I really wanted to drill home to the audience, is that anything that we are purchasing, the first priority is to support businesses in Haiti and use the revenue or the funds that are collected here in the States to support the economy in Haiti. So to any items, tents, water, food, clothing, any of those items that can be bought in Haiti, the maximum effort is being made to do that, to purchase those items in Haiti. And then, of course, where there is a shortfall, tents being an example, at one point there were probably only about 5,000 tents in the country. So obviously that is not enough. So we will be purchasing tents other places that are conducive to that environment, and hopefully sending those over in the near future. But the goal is always to first collect funds and to spend those funds in country to help sustain those small businesses that are taking a hit, and then of course to help that stimulate the economy in Haiti.
It sounds like a plan. So, Commissioner Holness, I'm back with you. And again, there is a list of items, that we've prioritized as things we must get to the people. So perhaps we can talk a little bit. But for example, I got somebody from the school board called this morning, and they wanted to know what to do. And I have to tell you, after watching this video of people just getting wet, I said, oh my God, wouldn't it be great if we could give everybody or every family a tent? So tell us a little bit about some of the other items, including my perception of the need for tents and the number of, 60,000 homes destroyed.
So I think Cozy touched on the fact that the most important thing right now is medical supplies. We need to ensure that the physicians and the nurses have the supplies they need to heal, to get the wounds that are there healed and bandaged. So medical supplies such as gloves, gauze, masks, things to wrap wounds with, over-the-counter medication, and all kind of medical supplies that could help someone who's been damaged by an injury caused by an earthquake. One of the people who came today actually brought something that I never even thought of before, and they bought crutches for people to walk on, because and so you're going to need crutches, you're going to need wheelchairs, because if people are injured, they're not going to, and they will still need to be mobile as much as they can to take care of themselves the best that they can, understanding that you don't have an abundance of hospitals and nurses to take care of folks there. So those would be the top of the list items. The next is this, to get a shelter. So we know the homes are damaged, and some of them are damaged, and people, they might still be standing, but you don't want to be inside because you never can tell what may happen to an aftershock. If an aftershock comes, it could crumble again, or it could just settle and crumble without even an aftershock. So a lot of people are going to be outside. We saw that from 2010, how many people lived in tents for too long. So the next item, of course, would be ensuring that they have covering for themselves. Tents are going to be critical for folks to be able to be sheltered from the elements, from the rain, from the sun. And once we're able to get that, then we have to look at food. But Cozy rightly said, whatever food we can buy and whatever supplies can be bought in Haiti ought to be done, because we saw what happened in previous situation where, for example, the rice farmers in Artibonite, in Okai, were put out of business because they didn't have a market to sell their rice because we flooded it with rice from here. There's water being produced in Haiti. So I know people are sending water, and it's needed, yes. But how about ensuring that the water production, the bottled water production that's going on in Haiti, which is not necessarily in Okai, is supplied with the revenues to hire more people so that that economy in Haiti can continue to churn and be stimulated. When Hurricane Andrew hit South Florida, it actually grew the economy because so much money came in to rebuild these homes, and the money was spent here. So we have to make sure that the money that's going there is getting to the people and not going somewhere else. And so money should actually is at the top of the list, because if you have the money, you can buy the right medicine and the right things that are needed that ordinary folks might not know what's needed. Food, certainly, sanitary materials certainly are needed also. But I would say, and here's another thing that I saw today, that folks were bringing clothing. That's not at the top of the list. In fact, I don't even know if you need to do that. That's not what's missing from people's lives right now. It is the medical things that they need, the food that they need, and I'm sure Cozy may add to that, or someone else may add to some of those priorities that we see that needs to be done. But I have to tell you, I was heartened today to see the response that we garnered at the shipyard in Port Everglades. They were moving. You were there. The pallets were being packed as we stood there. Probably 10 pallets got packed from my arrival to get onto the ship so that they can send it to Haiti. We want people to continue to do that. By the way, Miramar fire stations are now being utilized to hold goods so that we can get them to the ship. That's for off hours because they have limited hours, of course, at the shipyard. The fire stations open 24/7. But then once they get enough there, they'll move it to Accordia, and Mr. Lusant can go ahead and get it shipped to Haiti. And I'm so grateful to have him as a partner. Several years ago, when he came to the county to start his business, there were some who said, well, we have enough people doing this kind of stuff already. We shouldn't have another one. And I don't know, Gittel, you might have been on one of those meetings when I said, no, come on, you want to lock out other people from coming in? That's locking out folks who have never been at the table before. So that now he's helping to give back to the community and to help the people in Haiti.
Very good.
The only thing I will add, if you allow me, is that there is the teams on the ground. Actually, I was talking to Dr. Gerda Nicola maybe yesterday, and there are teams on the ground that are working on building a more durable, I don't want to say permanent, a more durable structure that's covered, as an alternative for shelter. One mistake that we do not want to repeat, is to turn, cities like Kajimi and others, into tent cities. Okay, that's already starting, and I think that the authorities are doing their best, to kind of not allow it to to grow and expand. But the strategy really should be that if your home is damaged, we're going to give you a tent for you to put in your yard, right? While you kind of, think about how you're going to rebuild. Not that you're going to go to an open green area and squat there. And I'll tell you, I'll have a very frank conversation with you here. I'll tell you, there are people, in 2010, I witnessed it, because we were working in the stadium, and we would be kind of doing some kind of psychological, sessions with folks. And some of them told us that, my house is over there, in some mountain, but, we come here because we're waiting for the aid. You know what I mean? There are people who actually come and squat, expecting to receive aid or to receive some monetary, help, which doesn't really help the real victims. Okay. But I think that one mistake that we certainly cannot repeat is for us to turn these cities into tent cities. So that's why.
And I agree wholeheartedly. part of what I think we ought to be gearing up for is to start looking to see how we get building materials there. And I did mention also generators. Electric generators are needed because with an earthquake, power lines will be down, so you need electrical support for homes and businesses that might still be standing but have no electric.
Okay.
And the hospitals.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Electrical generators would be also, I think, a very important item to get into Haiti. And as I said earlier, I dropped one off. Commissioner Mike Gellin is going to get another one. So as many of those as we can. And hopefully they'll release that to you, Cozy, so that you can get it to the right place.
You know, I really appreciate you bringing that point, and I guess I'm just thinking of the immediate need. But it appears to me if we were able to say, okay, so and so, you take, if whatever we have to buy here, this group buys it here, this another group buys another item that they cannot. We do it in an organized way where we're not duplicating efforts. So this question is to you, Mr. Luisen. Obviously, we have a ship leaving tomorrow, right? How many containers can you help with, and how many more trips you might see in, or will there be other trips in the future?
Well, that's a good question. At this moment, I do not have the answer for that. And yes, we did jumping help. And my partners and I, we need to sit down to see that how in the future we can, because that shouldn't be a one-time thing, how we can implement it. Because because technically we have shipping, we get a weekly service here at Port Reglet. So in that weekly service, how much can we give away from that ship while we doing our regular service?
Gotcha.
We can say that we taking that much going toward this particular area. So that's something we need to, the staff we need to decide and technically and figure it out. Then we can come up with an answer. But it's doable. Yes, it's doable because we go into the island either way. So we can find a way that to always add, create a space on a vessel for shipping, 1 or 2 containers. And because this is a huge vessel, we usually ship 100 plus containers. So the space is not going to be like leak of space. We do going to have space on the vessel. But it's a matter of like create space, like say, we're going to create space for 5, 6 containers per shipment. It depends what the community brings. Yeah, we can create a space for it.
Super.
Can I make a point, Gitel? I wanna caution everyone and kind of put a reminder out there about that we're trying to ship what cannot be found in Haiti, right? That's what we're trying to do. So comes reconstruction and rebuilding, right? I'm sure that there's going to be construction materials in the country. I think we should buy them, in Haiti first, and then if there is a lack of a certain material, that's what we send. Do you see what I mean? Because they're all going to be stores that will be selling these construction materials. I mean, when it comes time to rebuild, you know what I mean? So if we keep shipping things down there, we're going to probably repeat the same mistake. And which is why I'm saying that cash is king. If you can find organizations that you can trust that will deliver, that you will hold accountable, accountability is also king. If you can find these organizations and you invest in the rebuilding through them, okay? And it can be, governmental organizations too. I don't know. I honestly think that's the best way to go instead of trying to ship a bunch of things down there.
Point well taken. Sandy, go ahead, please.
No, I was going to agree with Cozy, and I also wanted to make sure that as organizations decide what lane and what role they want to play in this relief, I think they have to decide early on if they want to be part of the emergency relief, which is immediate care, things like health, food, water, or if they want to be in the lane of long-term recovery, which is permanent structures for shelter, rebuilding education systems, rebuilding infrastructure. If you decide that you want to do the latter as an organization, it's okay to step back and let other organizations take the lead in this immediate relief so that you have funds to do the long-term work. I think what a lot of people feel, and it's an emotional response. We're all Haitian. We all love our country. It's an emotional response to feel the need that you have to do something now, that you have to participate in the emergency relief. But that may not be your lane, and you may not have the revenue to do it, and you may not have the resources to get whatever it is that they need at that time in Haiti. And I had that conversation with the Dodo today, Mr. Lozama. Jeff was very clear. He said, we are taking a step back for the immediate relief. We are looking at long-term recovery in areas like Cavaillon and other areas where we are trying to rebuild schools, rebuild hospitals, rebuild churches. So that's what we're fundraising. Very focused. It's very clear. And the people who are donating to his organization understand what his mission and his purpose is. I think we will be more successful as organizations outside of the country in Haiti if we are our mission and our goals are very focused.
I like that. I really love that idea. And I think that's what we need to remember, what's immediate, what can we bring over there, and what can we buy over there to get the economy going. So I really want to take the time to thank each and every one of you. I think this is a beginning of a dialogue that really has to continue, because just from tonight, I got a chance to kind of think a little bit and say, okay, we probably need to get organized, like you say, short term, long term. So you guys are so critical to what's going to happen in Haiti next. So I can't thank you enough for the work that you've done, in the past, and the work that you want to do in terms of, making sure we're restoring parts of, Lake Kai that is totally destroyed. So once again, thank you so much. Lots of people want to help. So I'm going to leave you with, how can people help? So.
Well, first thing, people can help by identifying which organizations that trust and that they feel comfortable with, and donating any amount of money is helpful. And also by keeping communication lines open with their family and friends that they have in those areas. But during these times of crisis, people need to feel like they're not abandoned, they're not alone. Even if you don't have $10, $20, $50 to send to them, but constantly calling them, constantly keeping them in conversation with you will let them know that, you are trying to do something and that Calvary will arrive to help them. But just not calling and not keep communicating with them can give a sense of hopelessness and abandonment to your friends and family.
All right. Well, Councilman Desume, I know you have to leave, so I will not keep you. I want to say thank you for being with us this evening, and I cannot wait to see how things evolve and develop, because I think if we all work together, certainly we will bring impactful help to the individuals, as they need them. So again, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your leadership and everything that is being done. And again, thank you and good evening, everyone on the panel. Thank you.
Great. For anyone else?
And I would say that one of the things that I see happening here this time around that's better than before, and I believe we're learning from the mistakes of the past, and that is identifying those organizations who already have experience, who are in place, who are on the ground, and that is the reason why I personally, and I'm sorry, I'm going to take sides. I know Cozy Joseph I know her organization. I know Jeff Lozama. I know his organization. So those organizations we know already have boots on the ground that we're doing stuff. They're controlled by the people of Haiti, not folks from outside. It's important that we look to build these organizations, as was said earlier, so that they can be sustainable for the future. Cozy certainly and her organization is right now. Jeff is talking long term. Donations to these organizations will actually continue to build and strengthen the country of Haiti, and we must look to that for the future.
Very good.
And
Haiti Cherie.
to echo everyone else, for the Gascon Clergy Foundation, we have two medical supplies collections going on right now. So that's all the supplies that we're gonna get. I mean, we really need to, our approach is a three-phase approach, right? We assess the situation, we identify our priorities, we execute them, and then we identify potential homes to be rebuilt, and then we're gonna come back to these homes and help rebuild them. Period. We're not gonna try to help, to solve world hunger, but we're going to have a sizable impact. So in order to do that, we need funding. We need the type of funding that the big NGOs are getting. And even if we get a fraction of it, that will help, because we will show you we will not leave Haiti. We will not raise $25 million and build 6 homes in Haiti, because that's our community. People know where to find us.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. On that note, again, good evening, everyone, and thank you. And just let's keep trucking. And over the next few months, hopefully things will definitely get better for our people in the south end of Haiti. Thanks again. Have a good evening.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Dorothy. The suffering in Haiti is overwhelming. Just had a conversation with several people, and I have to tell you, it's just so much to absorb. It can really be daunting.
Gitel, I was listening to your conversation with such an interesting panel for the Haiti Disaster Relief Drive. And I really wanted to focus, instead of giving tips and advice, I'd really like to get that information out there to the community and how we can help the Haitian people back in Haiti. Imagine if you're spending between $5 to $20 on coffee and lunch. Imagine how that will go a long way in helping many people back in Haiti. So I want to go ahead and go through certain items that are in dire need in Haiti right now. If you're going to donate, it's so important to donate things like medical supplies, gloves, gauze, masks, even Band-Aids, over-the-counter medication, tents, construction material, and new generators. These are certain items that you can definitely donate to the cause for the Haiti disaster. And also, you can call to drop these items off at Commissioner Dale Holness's office. Here's the phone number to contact: 954-357-7009. Once again, 954-357-7009 or 754-236-2235. Once again, 754-236-2235. And also, if you're looking to donate any funds to credible, vetted organizations and foundations, here are 3 that you can definitely contact. Gascoff Clerget Foundation is a foundation that you can contact at 561-510-1113. Once again, 561-510-1113. And Maduro's Foundation at 305-628-3421. Once again, 305-628-3421. And finally, Family Action Network Movement at 305-756-8050. 305-756-8050. So let's all come together and help the people of Haiti, in Haiti, from this horrible, disastrous earthquake and, unfortunately, storm.
Great. Thank you so much, Dorothy. I really am pleased that we've taken a little bit of time to encourage our viewership to really help, because God knows they can use our help right now. So
It's
until
so
next
important.
week, have a wonderful evening.
Have a wonderful evening, Gitel.
All right. As Dorothy has mentioned, let's all get together as a community to really help our brothers and sisters during this time of need. You know, when you think about it, Haiti has experienced unimaginable suffering over the last few weeks. You know, first you have the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse, the earthquake on the 14th of August, and the tropical storm on the 16th of August. So we've lost a lot of people, and I do want to offer my condolences again to the many families who've lost loved ones. And right now, we really need to come to the rescue of the many individuals who do not have homes or really are sleeping, you know, either in their homes in a room and not knowing when the house is going to collapse. You've heard from Commissioner Dale Holness. You've heard from Councilman Alix Desaulniers, Mr. Louis Saint with the Accordia Ship Company, as well as Cindy Dorsonville, who works with many professional organizations. And last but not least, one of the organizations, the Gascoff Clerget Foundation, who is underground. So we are utilizing this approach just to make sure we get help to our people quickly and efficiently. So a little sacrifice will not hurt anyone. And we're not donating clothes. We're not donating things we don't need in our home. So most importantly, the items that Dorothy has mentioned and Commissioner Holness has mentioned, and money. There is so much we can do with the money in Haiti. We can get the economy back going again. So consider making a contribution, however small you want it to be, or $100 or more. So it's really up to you. The most important thing, I am hoping all of my viewers that are watching, think of one way you're going to help. So tonight, we've given you numerous avenues to really be part of this relief effort. So once again, I want to thank you for joining us this evening, and until next time,